built on relationships, focused on people, and rooted in the community. Welcome to the Build Blue podcast. Tune in for weekly episodes featuring guests who are building a better tomorrow. You'll hear inspiring stories from industry leaders, business owners, community partners, and our team members. The Build Blue podcast, where construction comes to life. An Apex Construction Group production. Welcome to the Build Blue podcast. My name is Jess Blaze with Apex Construction Group, and I'm here with Robert Bucky Beeman, and you are with Realty Growth, Inc., based out of Rochester. Thank you so much for coming to the podcast today.
Thank you for the invitation and the invitation to your offices. I was excited to come here and just see more behind the scenes of Apex.
This is so cool. So we always start with an Apex icebreaker, and so we want to hear about your very first job, Bucky.
My very first job, my father owns a small drive-through restaurant in Rochester, Minnesota called Snappy Stop. It's a one location, burgers, fries, hot dogs. So that was my very first job. We lived close by. I would ride my bike to work and learn how to flip burgers, take the order at the window. And to this day, I still go in and help where I can. My sister manages the store.
Cool.
And so that is my very first job. That's where I learned how to do customer service and make burgers that taste good.
That's an awesome story, and it's still there.
Yes.
So we could drive through and get a burger.
Yes,
and
right
it's
on
called
Broadway.
Snappies.
Yep, right on Broadway, close to the Mayo Clinic. If you're coming into town off of 52, it would be on Broadway and 9th Street, close to where the big K used to be, but it's now getting demolished.
There's a lot of changes happening in that area,
yes.
Or they have been for quite some time. So let's hear more about your background and how you got into commercial real estate, and tell us a little bit about your agency as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm 32. I think sometimes I got to remember, am I 32?
Once you get to the 30s,
right.
It's hard to keep track of the second number.
And I graduated from Century High School in 2008. And I was the kid in high school that I didn't realize I had an entrepreneurial bug, but it was really in me early on. And what it was I enjoyed videotaping deer hunting with my buddies, and we would go around and we wanted to be the guys on television someday. And so we started creating videos. I would stay after school. I took a video editing class in high school, and we'd make videos, and then I would package them in a DVD case, and I would send them out to people in the industry, and I would basically say, hey, I'm going to graduate and I would like a job. And long story short, that led me down a path of getting in the industry in a short amount of time. And that then was something that really turned into an entrepreneurial journey, because I was marketing myself. I was getting into a position where I could make income working for these people as a freelancer. I was traveling all around the country after I graduated, filming hunting adventures for people in the Outdoor Channel and other places. And I found out in that journey, I met one entrepreneur that he owned over 1,000 acres in southeast Iowa, and I sat in the tree with him for like 60 days, and he was not as forward when it came to capturing the video of the hunt. And some of these other people, really, it was their livelihood. And I was kind of like, what's the difference here? Why are you, not as motivated to capture this video on of each hunt? He wants me to. I'm there. I'm trying to, but it wasn't as big of a priority. And he explained his story. He had built a business. He had sold his business in his 30s, and he had, in his late 30s, semi-retired. He was still investing and doing things, but he was able to hunt all of November. He was owned a lot of land, and he was investing in businesses and not necessarily making a 9-to-5 type of job income. He was actually investing in building business and so forth. So I was like, I want to do that. So after a year and a half of traveling around, I came back to Rochester, and a buddy and I started a lawn care, irrigation, and snow removal company, because that's how you get rich, right?
Obviously.
You start shoveling snow and doing mowing lawns and all of that. And in a short amount of time, we built it to be a fairly substantial company. We had equipment. We bought a building on a contract for deed. Making the story real short, but it was just day in and day out, working real hard. In the beginning, we lived in our parents' houses. We eventually bought a building on a contract for deed, lived in the shop. I lived in one office. He lived in another office. And fast forward, we decided, let's not stop this entrepreneurial hunger, this journey. Let's try to find more opportunities. My father had a Snappy Stop, his second location, that was not doing so hot. So we devised the plan that I would go in and work the Snappy Stop, and my business partner at that time would run the lawn care and snow removal and irrigation company. that did not go as planned. We couldn't turn the ship around in the Snappy Stop. It was in kind of a poor location, and we didn't have a lot of customers. I tried my best, worked really hard, and ultimately we closed that. And then that led to us kind of reflecting on what we had built over the course of 5 years, a lawn care and snow removal company, and saying, is this what we want to do with the rest of our life? Because there were some nights, snow removal wise, you'd stay up for 3 days in a row almost. I mean, it was rough because we weren't into processes and procedures, and we didn't know how the heck, we didn't go to school for this stuff. We were just building the business. So we decided to separate our partnership. I tried for a period of time to keep the snow removal company going. Ultimately, I found a buyer for it. I sold out of it. And in that journey of doing customer service for commercial buildings and residential, I met a person that had been in commercial real estate. They owned several buildings. We had done their lawn care and snow removal. And he had pushed me and my partner prior to this to get our real estate license. So we got our real estate license. And I thought for some reason it was interesting. And I didn't necessarily know why. But I think what stood out to me is this individual was talking to many different types of business owners. And what I was intrigued by that is you got the behind the scenes of so many different types of businesses, and you got to be a part of their growth and their strategy of how to grow or even how to downsize. And I started getting listings that were not really premier listings by any means. I ended up going to for lease by owners, where there were neighborhood strip malls that people that own these properties weren't marketing them online, and I talked them into letting me have the opportunity to market them online on listing channels like LoopNet. And slowly but surely, I built a business, a reputation of being someone in Rochester that could fill some of these spaces that had been vacant. And what I learned through that is you meet people that own buildings, and it doesn't tend to be their main income. It tends to be they have a different business, and then they happen to invest in commercial real estate. And so I was able to pick their brains, right? I was like, how did you do this? What led you to buying buildings? What led you to your business? And I built some really strong relationships in the community with individuals that had built businesses, had owned properties. In that journey, I met my now partner, Nick Pompaine, and Nick's father had a firm called Realty Growth that he started in 1978. I had seen Nick's father's signs around town. He was known as one of the legendary guys in town that had done a lot of the transactions in the community, but I'd never really met him. And I had heard that Nick was moving back to town after going to college, and I asked if he wanted to go to breakfast because my broker at the time, he had since moved, and we weren't necessarily in the day-to-day with one another in the office. So I was missing kind of that culture and community and teamwork and all of that. And so Nick comes back to town. We sit down for breakfast right across from the St. Mary's Hospital, and I start to learn about his story. And he's like, my dad's semi-retired. It'd be nice to have you in the office. Would you consider it? And I ended up joining Realty Growth at that point. That was probably 2013, right in that time period. And I then had sold the lawn care company. I wasn't running the Snappy Stop North because it had closed. And I had decided to focus full-time on real estate. It was great going to a firm like Realty Growth because the relationships that Ed had brought to the table gave us opportunities to market properties that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to market because I was still building my business. The thing that Ed didn't know how to do was market online. So I remember one day we're sitting in the conference room and Ed's there. And I'm like, Ed, you have all these awesome listings and you don't have them on the internet. And he's like, why would I put them on the internet? I'm like, well, let me show you, right? And he gave us the opportunity to put our branding, Nick, myself, and him on his listings, and the inquiries start to come in. And there was a point in that period where Ed was still active in the business where he would bring listings to the table and he'd be like, we're putting it online, right? Because he saw the value of it. Ed has since passed, and he really left a legacy for us of just being a good sales group, being good people, really trying to better not only our individual lifestyles and our goals and achieve what we want to do, but truly leave a print on the community that helps others and then in turn also helps businesses grow. And that is the footprint we have taken and tried to continually grow out. So Nick and I became partners. We own the business of Realty Growth Incorporated. It's a commercial real estate leasing, sales, you name it, everything commercial real estate related. And we have added team members on our team that either have no experience in commercial real estate and we educate them, or maybe have some experience related to their family has owned properties, but they haven't necessarily done sales. We're a pretty young group, and we have built that with the foundation that Ed has really laid for us in doing business the right way, and then also combining it with what I talk about, the internet, to really market ourselves differently and help the businesses that we really that are our best customers to grow and to make decisions that are smart decisions that allow them to be successful. So here I sit today, building a business. We manage properties as well. Dylan Carty on our team is the head of Realty Growth Management, and we're focused in Rochester, Minnesota. And we do all over Southeast Minnesota. The majority of our clients are Rochester, but we have clients, for example, today after the podcast, I'll be showing office space here in Mankato. And it tends to be because we built a relationship in Rochester.
Absolutely. And
then they want to go to other markets, and we're not afraid to travel. And I have a car that gets 35 miles to the gallon. Nice. So I'm like, we'll flip and go there. Let's go.
Do it.
So that's my story as fast as I can tell it.
What a great journey. Thank you for sharing that with us. The marketing piece is so fascinating to me because that's how we first connected with you. You do a segment called The Market Update, and I think that you were at one of our caribous that we were either building or I just finished building. This was prior to me, but you had tagged us on Instagram. And so that's kind of how we first got introduced to you. So I would love to hear a little bit more about this marketing piece and this knack that you have for using social media to build your brand, but also just to educate the communities that you're serving about what's happening.
So going back to high school and videotaping my friends deer hunting, and it was storytelling. You're in the morning, you're in the tree, and in the afternoon you don't see any deer, and you're sharing your disappointment. And in the evening, hopefully you shoot something, and we document that and then edit it and make it into fun videos. When I got into business, I had not hunted hardly at all. There were several years that I did not hunt, and I wasn't storytelling anymore. And at some point in that journey, I was watching YouTube and Gary Vee popped up. And Gary Vee, if you don't know him, he is notorious for talking about marketing online. He has built a marketing agency in New York, but he shares his journey of business. And he said on YouTube, if you are not into Snapchat right now as a business owner, you are missing out. And I didn't grow up with Snapchat, so I didn't know what the heck he was talking about. But he had said DJ Khaled, who's a hip-hop artist that was blowing up at the time on Snapchat, documenting his day. He has made a huge amount of following in a short amount of time, and he's getting business opportunities. People are coming to him and asking him to do sponsorships and so forth. And he goes, that same thing you could do in your business is document your day, start creating on Snapchat. And I was unfamiliar with Snapchat. I think it was a good thing I didn't have any friends on Snapchat because I didn't grow up with it in high school or anything like that. So I add the app and I start documenting my day, and it's legitimately back to hunting days of like, I'm working out in the morning. I'm going to the office. We had an office admin named Belinda, and I would walk into the office and I would say, how's business at Realty Growth? And she would say, growing. And every single day we would kind of be in this rhythm. And I got that off of DJ Khaled because he had a young guy that was selling sneakers, and he'd in his day be like, how's business? And the kid would say, booming. And I was like, I can do that. I can say growing. So anyways, I started documenting my day on Snapchat. Through that, I met other real estate agents because those that were creating, I don't know exactly how we got connected. Of course, it was the internet, but somehow our paths crossed. And there were realtors all over the country that were listening to Gary Vee that started creating on Snapchat, mainly residential realtors. Commercial's way behind for the most part compared to residential. And we went to, one of them decided to do a summit where we all got together in an Airbnb. And I think we did two, and I think the first one was Salt Lake City, Utah, if I'm not mistaken. And we all got together, and it was just, I was around creators that their main business was real estate, but they were creating in their day and doing different things, and it inspired me to just keep creating. And so going back to the hunting, story, there were different seasons you would create on DVDs, different, animals you would pursue. And so I was like, what's one thing I can do and just be consistent at it? And somehow I came up with the Thursday market update. Why Thursday? No idea. But I wanted to start sharing the business happenings mainly in Rochester and then around the surrounding communities. So every Thursday on Snapchat, drive around with my phone, show up, new sign alert. Here's a new sign right here. This business is moving. As that went on, I decided to hire a freelance videographer, and I would do a few different ones, and we would make even a professional looking segment. 3-minute video sharing about a business story where we'd interview an entrepreneur, tell us about your business, how'd you get here, and we'd make it into a short little video. I would then, in my Snapchat journey, say, this next video, either go to YouTube or check it out. It's a story with a local business owner. They just moved to town. And it would be a long form edit and not the handy cam rough running around.
Yep.
So I started integrating that into my Thursday market update. Fast forwarding to today, we have 2 marketing people now on our team, and we are pumping out a lot of content, more than just Snapchat. And what I learned from Gary Vee is he said these platforms will go through cycles. And you think of, if you ever heard of this, the app Vine. Vine was TikTok before TikTok existed.
Yep.
And it's completely gone. And he goes, they'll come and go, but you need to keep creating. And then if you can find a way to repurpose your content. So I created on Snapchat. I would then, over time, Instagram started becoming popular. Instagram created the story platform where you could create stories throughout your day. Facebook started doing it, as on your personal profile you can create stories. Facebook business pages started creating stories. LinkedIn tried it and they dropped it. They'd had the stories for a little period of time. TikTok has its stories. So every Thursday I created on my Snapchat and then I distributed out to all of those platforms. It's a lot of work. It's probably, every Thursday, it's probably 2 hours worth of work easily.
Yep.
But the reward from that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I had a person message me this morning. I don't know who this person is, on Snapchat, and say, I love your market updates. It's fun to watch. Thank you. I don't know who you are. I don't know how you found me. You must be from Southeast Minnesota.
Yep.
And so I had to show a property probably in Mankato, and I'm like, I'm here. It's a Thursday. I only have so many hours in the day.
Yep.
I got to find some new things going on. So I started driving around, and I saw the Caribou Cabin, which we are starting to get one in Rochester, so I was familiar with the project. And I'm sure everybody knows, but Apex is very good at branding. They are good at putting their signs up. They are good at letting their brand be known on projects. And so here's this Caribou Cabin, and there's Apex. So what I do is I take a video, and I'm like, there's a new Caribou Cabin in Mankato, Minnesota. And then I went onto Instagram, and I typed in APX, never heard of the company. And there, the brand pops up. It matches the sign that's on the Caribou Cabin. I tag them. And that's kind of a fun little thing to do, because you can tag businesses and tag people, and they'll be like, what the heck is this, right?
Yep.
And I do that through my journey of Thursday. I'll tag other realtors that are doing things. It's not the Bucky Beeman show. It's how do I show what everybody else is doing, and how do they get some recognition for the work that they're doing? And that then led to our connection. Yeah. So the Thursday market update has become a thing. And when I'm not around on Thursdays, I try to get one of my other team members to do it. They'll create it on the Realty Growth Instagram story, and then I'll repurpose it. I'll save it to my camera roll and then put it out on other channels so other people can see team members in my team. And it's just a fun way to really share what is happening. And it blows my mind. Every Thursday I find stuff. Every Thursday. I mean, in the town of Rochester, Minnesota, there is new signs every Thursday. There is businesses moving. Sometimes it's a repeat of progress of a project. Sure. But it really has become a segment that we like sharing, and it's integrated into our marketing with our team members that are helping us on a weekly basis create content.
It's kind of one of those things, like when you're going to get a new car, and you think, nobody's driving this car, I want this car. And then you start seeing that car everywhere. Like if you're looking for these new things or new signs, like you find them because that's what you're focused on. So
yes,
it's just really fun, because my love of marketing, and Gary Vee is brilliant. So it's fun that you bring him up, but it's cool to see, really you've taken a love of marketing from a young age and just
worked that into everything that you're doing.
Right.
Which is awesome. But I'm also hearing a lot of like personal brand, which is something that feels fairly new, kind of as a mainstream term. But let's talk about personal brand and maybe how you are mentoring your young team to build their own personal brands.
So I think personal brand is underrated as far as what you can do with the internet to really represent your personal brand that will lead to business. And people don't recognize the potential that is out there of how you can build your personal brand. If you look at real estate firms back in the day prior to the internet, I think a lot of agents went to firms because of the brand that was out there. Now with the internet, the potential I have as an individual to build a brand is astronomical compared to back in the day. So if you want to look me up on social media, go to Google, start there, type in Bucky Beeman, and then watch all the things that drop in down below. And it's just because I'm active on all of these platforms, and all these platforms then tie back to the hub being Google. Yep. And so if you start to become active, and you don't have to be active on all, that's not, I would say, normal for someone that's in small business. I think you have to pick one, attack it, and become proficient at it. And then you can find ways to redistribute thereafter. But if you become proficient in one platform, the potential of how people can find you in your business is so large compared to what it had been in years past. And I think that the best realtors, and not necessarily in service, because that's to be debated, but the best realtors as far as gaining business for the years to come are going to be the ones that put themselves out there on the internet and on social media, unlike others. And the opportunities that then come from that will be more than they could have ever imagined. And it's easier said than done. Yeah. It's a lot of work. It's a full-time job. We are taking big steps as a small real estate firm to hire people, to pay them salary, to pay them payroll, and taking a bet on that thesis that integrating social media into our brokerage and then helping our agents build their social media. The thing I'll say though, the brokerage can't carry all the weight. You have to start doing it yourself. We can add fuel to the fire. We could, in a simple term, add ad dollars to whatever initiative, whatever platform you're proficient in. But truthfully, if you don't start doing it yourself, you won't reach your full potential. And that's what we're trying to do is, I hope through my leadership of being a creator in our brokerage, it empowers other people in our brokerage to go out and create and then get consistent at it and then integrate it in part of their lifestyle and their business. And then our brokerage will have the right team members to plug into them so that they can continually do their job and we can make their job and life easier. And it's fun. Next week, I'm out of town. My coworker, Gunnar Grimsrud, he recorded a long-form market update in Zumbrota, Minnesota. He helped a Mexican restaurant there open up. I've never heard this entrepreneur's story. And our video guy went out there, Chris Christensen, Nathan Hoover, they went out there, documented the story, and he's going to do the market update. So he's going to do the handy cam running around, and then he's also going to integrate the long form. And it's like, I love it. He's taking the reins. Like every Thursday for me is a lot.
Absolutely.
And so it's so fun when you start to see others in your office embrace the technology that's at your fingertips and embrace the tools that are at your fingertips and start promoting themselves. And
great that you're empowering them to do that.
I'm trying.
It's so cool.
Thank you.
You guys also have a podcast.
Yes. It's called the Real Growth Podcast. And we have, we just had a new hire, Chris Christensen. He had his own video marketing company for many years, decided to join our team and really help us take it to the next level. And podcasts for me have gone up and down as far as it's a commitment and it's consistency like anything. And if I don't have the time and talent to do it efficiently, I got to go help my clients grow. It didn't happen. So we're getting back on it and I'm so excited. So we're 4 episodes in, Real Growth Podcast. And I would say the real theme of it is talking to business entrepreneurs about this real growth. I think on the internet, I see so much of this quick money, make $1 million, start doing drop shipping, buy a property, flip it, make 500,000. And reality is, I mean, it can happen, I'm sure. It's just not what I have done, and it's not where I've seen true success. And so we sit down with these entrepreneurs and we really try to get to the bottom of, besides the fluffy, super great, everything's wonderful conversations. It's like, let's talk about some real growth here. So in our latest episode, we had Evans Landscaping. He's a creator as well, which I appreciate, on Instagram. Evans Companies, I believe, is his handle. And we got into faith. We got into just how he has really tried to be level-headed through his growth, how he sees success and what success is to him being a young entrepreneur. It's not the, as you go to the internet, it's not the Rolls Royces and Lamborghinis and the jet. It's success for me is and we went into, all these different areas. So that's where the theme of that podcast is, and it's fun. It's what we do with it also, besides the long form like we're doing, we'll cut it up into small little clips and then distribute it on our Realty Growth Instagram and so forth. So
very cool.
Thank you.
What's your favorite part of real estate, commercial real estate?
I think my favorite part is, honestly, no day is the same, and you are truly helping people through major life decisions that can change the outlook of their life, for their family, for them personally. And I think that's the creative side of my brain, where it's like I get to help make people a success, and I play an integral part in that. Now, there are some that, not every client's that. Some clients are just, we find a space and they rent an office and that's that, But the ones that I get the most joy out of are the clients that I've seen from the very beginning, and they slowly but surely have built into a success. And that's what I love. If you go to a big market like a Minneapolis, for example, and you talk to other commercial realtors, the question they'll ask you is, well, what asset class do you specialize in? I had the question a week ago from a broker out of the cities. I'm like, I don't specialize in industrial. I don't specialize in hotels. I don't specialize in office leasing. I end up doing almost all of it. And I really focus on, because we're not in a big market, we don't have the national relationships, the small business community. Yeah. It's the mom and pops. It's the people that maybe have made money in one area of their life and they're looking at transitioning into a different area of their life and doing it a different way, and you get to be a part of that journey. So that's what I love. I also I have appreciation for like old buildings, and I'm going through a rehab right now in downtown Rochester of one of the oldest buildings on Broadway. And on the main floor, we're putting in a restaurant. It's an adaptive reuse project that's converting from office to a restaurant, 1,500 square feet, called Marrow. And I'm helping Jeff and Sarah Schwenker get this open for their first brick and mortar, but also bringing new life to an old place that's in my mind, iconic place on the corner of 4th Street and Broadway. So I just love that as well. I love bringing to life something and it's amazing. You see it at Apex. And it says it here on the wall, it's building for our community, is like we are really helping shape the community, and we are playing a role in that. And so I really enjoy that, and the buildings are just as much of an important piece to the puzzle as the entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff. And the small businesses are in a Rochester and all across southern Minnesota, they're really the heartbeat of our communities, are those small business owners. And some of them have been around for a long, long time. Some of them are young and brand new, but either way, they're the heartbeat of the community.
Yes.
Really. Challenges, changes, kind of the current market. What are you seeing as trends?
Yeah, so in downtown Rochester, I think the biggest challenge we have right now is a lot of vacant office space, which I think a lot of downtowns are suffering from. I don't see it, and you would know better here in Mankato. It seems like Mankato downtown is bustling. It's tight, and there's a lot of not empty offices from what I can see. But downtown Rochester, we do have that. So it's a struggle for the small business community that has benefited so much from years past, for all the people that occupied those offices, whether it be lunch rush or breakfast or dinner or activities after work or whatever the case may be. Now, I'll flip it to the positive side, being in the business that I'm in. My imagination goes crazy. I go, okay, so if it's not going to be office for the next 20 years, what else can it be? And how does someone is going to help put those pieces together? So it's a struggle to figure out who's going to do it, to figure out what bank is going to finance it, to figure out what businesses are going to occupy it. But on the flip side, the opportunity that is there, I'm really excited for. Yeah. Some other struggles, I would say, with the increase in interest rates, it just makes the conversations of transactions a little bit more difficult. I would say it doesn't stop things by any means, but it just making the numbers work. I was talking to a small business owner that owns an office building. He's worked his entire life to own this office building. He occupies a portion of it, and he's looking at now selling it. And the conversation of value for that property has changed over the last year from when I talked to him a year ago to today, and the interest rate plays a role in that. So it's being realistic of what are things truly worth. You know, we lived through some amazing, really good times related to value, and we are headed to what could be a corrected time. And as we live through that, where do values need to be for a business to, one, whoever buys that building to succeed, and then two, for the person selling it to have them feel comfortable with what they got for the price. So I enjoy it. I mean, it's a big puzzle piece, and I enjoy putting the puzzles together and trying to make it work. Some other challenges, I think like anything in a busy business and a busy career, it's just picking your battles wisely and trying to focus on the right things. I have such a dream and hunger to build out a marketing engine integrated within our company that helps our individuals in our company and our businesses that we help grow. And it's like, I love that. That being said, I still have clients, so I'm servicing clients. So it's that, okay, where should I focus my time? What should I delegate? But overall, I'm not a doom or gloom type of guy. I don't think the sky is falling. I think overall outlook for Minnesota is still good, and I'm excited to be a part of that for many years to come.
Good. We're feeling that too. We feel like things are good. Where can people find you? On social media, online? Maybe the Google way is the best way, so they can find it all in one spot.
Yeah. If you are on Instagram, my username is Bucky Beeman. If you're on TikTok, my name is Bucky Beeman. If you're on Snapchat, my name is Bucky Beeman. And it's just the @Bucky Beeman. If you go into Facebook, I do have a business page that I put content on. Same thing, look up my name. If you'd like to look more at our company and kind of our growth, we're at Realty Growth Inc. or RGI Group on Instagram. And besides that, reach out, happy to chat, talk about business. It's what I live and breathe, and I'm available.
Very cool. And it's Beeman.
Yep, the Beeman.
Bucky Beeman. Anything you'd like to add? This has been an awesome conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate, companies like yours just reaching out and being forward in marketing and really trying to help bring the conversation of, the future to the internet, because I think it can help connect us all.
Definitely.
In ways that hasn't been possible in the past.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for making the trip over, and thanks for listening to the Build Blue podcast, an Apex production.